Prez, welcome back to the Blue Abroad YouTube channel. How you doing?
Yeah, I've got weird emotions going on, to be honest. I'm a bit flat for the loss, obviously, but also, just very proud of the players and the coaches and the whole club. And so, yeah, a mixture of emotions kind of, straight after the game.
Yeah, I'm with you. The devastation's obviously going to be there, but you can never really spend too much time being devastated because the perspective comes into the mind pretty quickly.
Yeah, you're right. You're right, Terry. And we've got a lot to be very grateful and thankful for the year.
Mm.
But it does hurt, and I think it'll hurt for a while in all the players' sort of stomachs. We had an opportunity and we let it get away. So that'll hurt, and I think it'll burn in the off season and the pre-season, and we're going to come back bigger and better next year.
Yeah. What did you take away from the actual prelim itself? There's so many elements to it, on the field, off the field, fans, everyone, the energy. What do you reflect on the game?
Oh, look, the lead up to it with all the pre-game functions was incredible. There was a number of pubs where there was just Carlton faithful all over them, and then walking to the stadium and seeing some 10, 12, 15,000 Carlton people, unbelievable. Never experienced something like that in a small ground like the Gabba. And the voice, and so just to call out to our members, our fans, our people who spent a lot of money to get up there and to stay up there. We just love your support and love your commitment. So just a shout out to them. On the game itself, after the first quarter, couldn't have felt better. Was feeling just incredibly positive about the way in which the guys came out. First prelim, playing at the Gabba. Any mental demons or anything? Nothing to be seen. Very proud, but then quarter 2, 3, and 4, we just let it get away. So disappointing in the end, but proud of where we've come this year.
Yeah, no doubt. There's that adage about playing away from home. You got to get a good start in. You got to silence the home crowd. You got to get your away crowd into it. I was maybe too confident at quarter time. I thought we had done all the right things. We had done all the right things.
We had, and they're an incredibly good football team. They've been kind of where we've got to this year for the last 3 or 4 years, and they were calm, they were resilient, they responded as they needed to do. So hats off to them, that's we'll take a lot of learnings away from it. But we came out very strongly. Fantastic.
Yeah, no doubt. And then the reality of, I think, why we want finals experience was on display. Listen to Chris Fagan's press conference. He spoke a lot about what they learned even just from last year against Geelong, the way they lost to the champion team that Geelong was. And I felt like this is the beginning of the next era for the group now, and now we're going to add layers of these finals experience moments for the next bit of time.
Yeah, I think that's right, Terry. I do think that this year has been a real maturing of the club. I look at the way in which we've handled the adversity, and not just 1 or 2 or 3 people, but the club. And I think that's kind of the sign of a maturing club, almost, being able to withstand that noise and that pressure and that expectation and so on that comes. But I also layer that with there's no guarantees. We found some great form. We had a fit list. Timing was right. and we weren't able to get it done. And so certainly not myself or anyone at the club would be thinking we just roll into next year and it's just going to happen. Like, we know that it's so competitive across the 18 teams, and on any one day, if you're 1% off, you can lose it. So we kind of take great strength and maturity from this year, but gee whiz, we got to get to work, have a breather, obviously a rest, let the guys go and have a bit of fun, and come back for the off season and the pre-season to get himself absolutely peachy right for next year, and to have the experience and the mindset sort of as a positive, not as one that sort of means that we're just going to roll. We're going to roll with it because we're not. We've got to make some changes. We've got to get ourselves to that next level because people are hunting us now. You know, people are hunting Carlton, and that's where we should be.
Yeah, you mentioned something in the letter that you wrote to the members around, you know, adversity doesn't break us anymore. It kind of defines us, and I thought that was a really telling part of the year. I think, you know, obviously where we found ourselves mid-year, I looked at it more as it was a test of, you know, was the club really stable? And you don't really know until you test it, I think. And so we tick that box, and then I think we're at this point now where it's we're done with, you know, looking at the way things used to be or how we used to behave or the pain or the disappointment of the way it used to be, and now it's what's going to happen moving forward. For me anyway, there's a different level of trust now with what's happening in Clubland.
Yeah, look, I think that's right. I think from my perspective, you know, adversity always will happen. Like it just will. It will happen in our own lives in different ways. It will happen at the football club. It will happen within players and coaches' lives. Like, life is full of adversity, and that is one of the beauties of life. But it's about how you respond to that. You know, is it a victim mentality or is it a growth mentality? And I don't want to get too philosophical on the psychology of it, but the best way to navigate those adversities is the opportunities, the positive side of that path. And so what I've loved with the club is that it was red hot, it was crazy for a while there. That's the only word I can use. But through that period, fans, members, players, coaches, the club, our ecosystem has really matured, and we've come out of that with a baseline that I think does hold us in really, really good stead for the adversity that will come next year. There will be more adversity. Like, what happens if we lose 3 on the trot next year? You know, and nothing's to say we won't. And so how do we, as Carlton people, navigate through that next time? And it will be fascinating to see, because my instinct is that everybody, all of us, from me to Cookie to everyone, has grown through this period. And we've got to stick fat. We've got to stick fat. We've got to trust in the process. We've got to trust in the people. And we're working our tails off to win games of footy, get into the finals, and to jag some premierships. And that goal is unwavering.
Yeah, right. What did you, I mean, we're very close to the end of the season, so I don't know how much time you've had to really, truly reflect, but what have you learned most from this experience so far?
Probably it's a learning, and it's probably a validation, Terry, that we're better when we stick together, and when we back our players and coaches, and give them that security, that psychological safety, our guys can achieve extraordinary things. And we've got to keep doing that because that's what's going to bring us premierships. And, you know, it's hard when you're not winning games of footy. It's hard when things aren't going your way. But we've got the potential. We really do have the potential in our club to deliver on premierships in the future.
Yeah, it's a good point. I mean, the concept of the stronger together message, I think we've always wanted to have the message there, and I think the club have always intended to be stronger together, but it took it gained some legs and some traction, particularly during the run. You know, after round 13, we went on the run, and I think I'm really curious to see how the notion of stronger together carries us forward. And I mean, my hope, and I'm sure it's the same for you and the entire club, is that it's not just a 2023 run, the stronger together run. It's much more of a long-term proposition.
Yeah, look, I think I love it because it goes to the defining piece of Carlton. You know, like, we have the best fan base. You know, we have the best ecosystem of Carlton people here and offshore. It's amazing. But we need to use it for good.
Yeah.
Not for evil. You know, and how silly are we if we use it for evil? Because it could be our biggest single competitive advantage. So, you know, from my perspective, how we stay as one, we stick fat. You know, you tell me and the club what more we need to do on fan engagement, and, you know, maybe through your show you can get some ideas and thoughts and play them back to the club. But, like, this is a big competitive advantage that other clubs don't have. And the competition is so close. How silly are we if we don't leverage that? So from my perspective, I kind of want stronger together, the line in the sand midway through this year. That's it. We don't look back. We've lived and learned. Now we're charging up the hill as one collective. Now, as we face the road bumps, which inevitably we'll face in the future, how do we navigate that stronger together? And if we can do that, it does, like, I can't say it more. It has a big impact on the players. It has a big impact on the players and the coaches, and therefore our performance week in, week out.
Yeah, I mean, look, for their ability, our ability to create that environment where, you touched on it just earlier, where they feel, you know, that security or that safety, knowing the energy that's around them. And I mean, when I look at the high pressure moments that happen in big games or in finals, it's the ones that are the most cool, calm, and collected under the pressure that end up moving forward. So, I mean, that's a big responsibility for the fans, but that's the role that we play on game day, and not just game day, the entire season.
Yeah, no, that's right. It's a big responsibility, and I don't want to make it all responsibility and no fun. Like, it's got to be fun, and it's got to be joyous, and we're going to have a hell of a ride, right? But you know, just we're all in this together, and you know, I sincerely say it, like, give us the feedback and whatever we can do to stay more aligned, give you more transparency where we can. You know, like, we're all ears, and we're learning and growing on this off-field stuff as well. And that's all good.
Yeah. So this off season, what happens now? What happens in your world? And I mean, you know, in the next few months, like, how does it? What actually goes on?
So, to give you a feel of Vossi, on the plane on the way back, He's writing notes on the plane as to what we need to get focused on. The night of losing a preliminary final. So that's the hunger that we take into this off season. Obviously, there's going to be a formal review process that will be kicked off this week and coming weeks. Everyone will get a bit of a breather. Players will go off on a holiday, and we'll get to work on what we need to do. As far as the draft and trade period and so on and so forth. But it sort of shifts from sort of an execution to a strategy and planning period. Execution on some parts of the list, but most of it's strategy and planning now as to how we go to the next level next year, such that by the time the guys get back, we're all absolutely aligned and away we go. So it's this week's going to be a bit of a flat period because all the players, all the clubs feeling it. I feel just very flat today, like it's just ended, bang. And so I'm sure fans and members as well feel like that. Very proud, but it'll take a week or so, and then that hunger will keep us going on the planning front to get ourselves ready for the moves we need to make in the off season, and then to launch into pre-season.
Yeah, and I guess we have a 6 more rounds of the AFLW season, which gives us a chance to get to the club a little bit more and soak up some of the Carlton spirit. At the time of filming, we're very early in the AFLW season, but it does seem like there is also a renewed spirit which has transcended the men's program. And obviously we've got Bucky is the new coach and fresh energy around the place. What are your thoughts so far on the W program?
Fantastic. You're absolutely right. We did a review, which we obviously did in the men's program some 18 months earlier, and we just weren't where we needed to be, Terry. So we've made the necessary changes. We've got a very young list with our women's program, but as far as the foundations, the coaching panel, the high performance standards and behaviours that we need, it's chalk and cheese. And so get along, please, if you can. The women love your support, love the noise, and let's push towards finals.
Yeah, no, spot on. Well, mate, thanks so much for giving up your time so close to the ending of the season. I know that we're all hurting, so really do appreciate you making the time. And yeah, I think little conversations like this go a long way to just feeling a little bit more connected. And we won't stop on this end. We'll just keep doing what we do, and we look forward to whatever comes our way next.
Yeah, and thanks for your support throughout the year through the show, and thanks for all the members and fans. They've been incredible, and to see young kids coming back to the footy and the generation that was kind of missed, having not really been relevant for the last 20 odd years, is just the best. And I just thank you for all of your support and help. And apologies that I've got a head cold and I'm feeling a bit flat. But other than that, onwards and upwards, mate.
Always forgiven, mate. Go Blues.
All right, go Blues.